Hey, welcome to the reaction to the third reading of Chapter 5 of How to Lose a Planet, the Average Future Epic. Every reaction, I give you a storytelling tip, something I liked, and something that was true. So for the tip. So this is going to be a little bit of a weird tip because I can tell you what I did, but not how I did because spoilers. So in this particular reading, what I'm doing is introducing new subplots that will be developed further on as the story progresses, and new villains, and I'm expanding the antagonist. By which I mean the antagonist and the villain are not the same thing. I'll just repeat what I said in the prior video. So you can have a character sitting in a room, and the story is they want to leave the room, but they can't leave the room because of their own negative thoughts. In that story, the character's negative thoughts are the antagonist because they are moving in the opposite direction of where the protagonist is trying to go, which creates the conflict. So when I said that I introduced a villain, what I'm really saying is I am expanding the antagonist because often the villain works in service of the antagonist, and that antagonist could be emotional state, the world, the person himself. So yeah, I'm not gonna say how, but I introduced a villain and I'm expanding the antagonist. I'm also introducing new subplots, which will be developed as the story progresses. And I only said it to say that doing those things as early as possible are great tools for developing your story. It's not always easy, I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually worked really hard to find a way to slip the villain in there in a way that feels natural, so when they appear later on, oh, okay, this has been going on for a while now. So that's that. Something I liked. I liked the bit about how frustrated Lacey got whenever Kato mentioned that she is her father's daughter, because that's just super relatable content to me as a human walking the earth. The older I get, the more I think about how I am so much like my mom, my dad, and kind of wonders like where during the course of my life do my parents stop and I begin, so to speak, and how much of me is nurture and how much of me is nature and all those questions, which can be fun questions to ask, but sometimes I might get irritated. Not really, but I can relate to Lacey being irritated because she knows her father is this bloody madman who even from the grave perpetrated this horrific, bloody, terrible prison break, which I found to be relatable content. So let's see, that's a tip, something I like, something true. Okay, so something true, not particularly true to my personal experience as far as like, well, I never was broken down in prison, but like I once read this book, I think it was called The Definitive Book of Body Language, and I read it simply because I'm a nerd and I just like to read things as much as I can, and that book has played a big role in the writing of this book. So there's scenes where you see Lacey gnawing her lip, where you see Kato Bentz's finger back until its knuckle pops. And those are just little touches about things I learned in that book about body language. So even though that may just seem like scenery or detail, what I was actually trying to do is communicate their emotional states in the moment without actually having the reader know or saying like Lacey is tense or Kato is tense, but showing it in the sense that like the reader might get a sense of their emotional state. Because sometimes you don't want the reader to know everything. Sometimes you want the reader to try to figure it out or just get a sense of something. I think that makes for a more intriguing style of storytelling sometimes. Sometimes it can be frustrating, but we're all doing the best we can. All right, deuces.